Okay, there are actually names for these special functions, and in fact, in some sense, they are the inverse of the trigonometric functions. So in fact, if we know that sine of A equals x, well then in fact I could say that this, and the way you read this, is the inverse sine of x equals the measure of angle A. So this is read inverse sine x. By the way, classic mistake is to say, sine raised to the -1 power, or think of some kind of reciprocal or crazy thing. Those are all wonderful mistakes, but they are mistakes. This is actually a special function, which is the inverse of this function, and it's read the inverse sine of x equals the measure of angle A. If the cosine of the angle A is x, that means that the inverse cosine of x equals the measure of A, and if the tangent of A equals x, then the inverse tangent of x equals the measure of angle A. All right, let's take a look at some examples to see how you'd actually find these. The easiest way to do it, I'm happy to report, is to use a calculator. It's true. I know, because calculators can do these things and compute these things exactly, to as much precision as you can probably need. So here we go. So here's the inverse sine of 0.5. What does that mean? It means I'm looking for the measure of the angle. So how many degrees is an angle that has its sine equal to 0.5? That's what this means. So here we go. How do you do it? You turn the calculator on. It's always a great start. And to get the inverse functions, you might have to push the second key. So you hit the second, and then you hit the inverse sine key, and you type in 0.5, and I see 30 degrees, which I actually happen to know. So that's definitely correct. So what does this mean? It means that if you take the sine of 30 degrees, you're going to get 0.5. That's what this means. How about inverse cosine of 0.25? That one I don't know, but I hit the second, and then the inverse cosine function, 0.25, and then I see that this is approximately, I'm going to round here now, 75.52. I'll stop there. What does that mean? Well, that's the measure of an angle whose cosine is 0.25. Okay, so we're doing things backwards now. And finally, if we look at the inverse tangent of 5.1, that's going to equal approximately 78.91 degrees. Again, what does that mean? It means that if you take the tangent of 78.91 degrees, you're going to get 5.1. So the inverse trig functions are really important because they allow us to go from the sine, cosine, and tangent back to the angle in which they came.